Black bag. George Woodhouse is a British intelligence agent who's informed by his higher-up Meacham that someone on his team is a traitor. One of Woodhouse's colleagues stole a top-secret software called Severus, which could be used to cause a government meltdown. Meacham gives George a list of 5 suspects, which includes George's own wife and fellow agent, Catherine. George invites to dinner the other 4 suspects. Freddie, a high-ranking agent that George passed over for promotion due to his alcohol and drug problem. Clarissa, a young, flirty agent currently dating Freddie. Zoe, a level-headed psychologist who works with the agents. And James, a former colonel who's currently dating Zoe. George warns Catherine not to eat the chana masala because he dosed it with a drug called DZM5. Through drugs and George's manipulation, it's revealed that Freddie is meeting up with a woman weekly at a hotel to cheat on Clarissa. That night, George finds a movie stub ticket in the bathroom trash. This raises his suspicions, especially after he asks Catherine to see the same movie with him, and she denies having seen it before. The next day, Meacham dies of a heart attack, suggesting that someone at the dinner took him out. George breaks into Catherine's office and learns she's flying to Zurich. Coincidentally, James informs George that there is a bank account in Zurich with £7 million in it under one of Catherine's aliases. George convinces Clarissa to help him override one of the agency's spy satellites in order to spy on Catherine. He witnesses Catherine meet with a Russian, where she appears to offer to buy something from the Russian. It turns out that in the 3 minutes that George and Clarissa overrode the system to spy on Catherine, another Russian operative disappears from a safe house in Liechtenstein with a copy of Severus. The Russian intends to use it on the Russian government in order to end the war against Ukraine and get rid of Putin, but the price would be thousands of lives. The agent's big boss, Stieglitz, reprimands his team and accuses someone on the team of being a traitor. But Stieglitz insists no one tells the CIA. George realizes he is being set up to look like the traitor. Sure enough, Clarissa rats him out to Freddie. Freddie in turn tells Catherine that George is the suspected leak and is in trouble with the agency. In bed that night, George and Catherine compare notes. At this point, it becomes clear neither of them are the traitor. Instead, they are both being set up and both being used to get to the other. George tells Catherine he intends to bait someone into an overreaction in order to find the truth. He conducts a series of polygraph tests on the remaining 4 suspects. After reaching a conclusion, he invites the 4 suspects over for another dinner at his home. At the same time, Catherine confronts Stieglitz and tells him she suspects that he is the one who leaked Severus. She reveals that she leaked information to the CIA in order to have the Russian operative, the one with a copy of Severus, taken out with an American drone strike. Therefore, she stopped the plan to melt down the Russian government. Catherine tells Stieglitz that she knows he had help and that she has faith that her husband will figure it out. At dinner at George's house, no food is served. Instead, Catherine puts a gun on the table and tells her guests they are playing a game. George reveals James and Stieglitz stole Severus, intending to use it to end the war in Russia. While at the first dinner, James planted the movie stub ticket in George's trash. The idea was to frame Catherine for leaking Severus, but also to goad George into spying on Catherine via the redirect, allowing the Russian operative to escape. James was the one who lured Catherine to Zurich, and he was the one who opened the bank account in her name to make it look like she sold Severus for money. But while drunk, James bragged to his then-girlfriend Zoe about the plan. Zoe, a woman with strict morals, resolved to try to stop the Severus meltdown, which would lead to the deaths of many innocent people. At this point, James realizes he is cornered and picks up the gun on the table. He confesses he is the one who stole Severus and insists he did so for noble reasons, to stop the war on Ukraine. He also confesses to killing Meacham. Catherine reveals the name of the game is See Who Picks Up the Gun. George reveals that the entire conversation has been recorded and James's confession is on tape. James fires the gun at George, but it's filled with blanks. Catherine reaches into her bag, pulls out an actual loaded gun, and kills James. He aimed and shot a gun at her man after all. And as Freddie says, all Catherine and George care about is each other. They would never betray each other. Catherine lets everyone else go with a warning. Never screw with her marriage again. Everyone else goes back to work. George reveals he never thought Catherine lied to him about the movie stub because he knows she would never be that sloppy. He was only spying on her because he was worried she was in danger. He also reveals that the £7 million is still in a bank account under Catherine's name, suggesting that his loyalty will always be to his wife before it is to his country and morality.